It is the love of God, both for him and his love for us, that gives us the confidence, the stability from which to risk making mistakes in life and in surviving any mistakes that we do so make, that he allows us to make. And it is his rescue, of course, that helps us to survive, has us survive all difficulties. If you don't take some risks in this universe, you don't make anything. Nothing at all. You don't know when you go to lift your arm whether you'll be able to do it or not. There's a possibility, conceivably, that it will be painful, etc. If you don't risk, you can't even move, not a limb. You can't even risk thinking. My doctorate, as I said before, was in decision-making and uncertainty. From the world's point of view, I didn't complete it. From heaven's point of view, heaven completed it for me, in me, and continues to, through me. Our solution to risk is trust. We choose to believe. And in that state of trust, we gather sufficient momentum to initiate action that we would otherwise find not within our reach. Often we are right. In fact, most of the time we're right, because every action we do has some element of uncertainty. But there are a few occasions when, from our narrow perspective, we think we've done something wrong. But God allows it. Our wonderful, dearest friend, our Heavenly Father, allows it for a blessing where we do make mistakes, and has it pan out perfectly. That is our trust. And we refuse to think anything else, in case it is to think less of him. And we don't want to do that. So living becomes a joy. Your joy, our joy, eternal joy, life eternal. Thank you, Heavenly Father. Thank you, Dad. I have a breach now of a week or two from my Ananda friend, and I don't know how to put it right, and I haven't really the courage quite to put it right. So I've sent her a text telling her I don't have the courage to put it right, and I would so appreciate it if she gave me an invite to come and see her. And do you see, a simple act like that takes a certain amount of courage, which you can do if you feel God's behind you. In fact, if you believe in heart that God has even put it in your mind, you can take the risk. It's still a risk, you see, because you don't know for certain. Well, I don't know that God has definitely put it in my mind. I just trust that he has. And know that that's what I would like. It doesn't seem right that a friendship has ended. I can't bear that. I can bear that. With God with me in my heart. But it's. I would so like it to be put right if possible. So I take some risk. I make a bid. I mean, she could come back conceivably unpleasantly, couldn't she? Or just ignore it as, I don't wish to know. If he's miserable, he's got his just desserts. He should put it right himself, I mean, she could respond in a way that is a cost to me. On the other hand, she may respond in a way that's such a blessing. I can take that risk. Why? Because I put my trust in God. Because I have seen quite reasonably all that God has provided for me narrowly, leave alone for the rest of the world and all that's in it and the universe. I have good reason to trust. Even if I get a bad response, I still have good reason to trust. What seems a bad response to me may be just what's necessary and right in some way that my Heavenly Father understands, whether I do or not. And my goodness, that's good enough for me. How could it be otherwise? So, I tell you this in order to give you some encouragement. What I used to say to my students, if you don't make mistakes, you never make anything. You need to make a few more mistakes. Of course, I didn't want them to be so reckless that they harm themselves with mistakes. But you see what I mean, don't you? Thank you, Heavenly Father. Thank you, Dad. Well, I have a happy ending to this particular friend relationship. She texted me back to come over and, have a cup of tea and so on any time. And so I did. And all is well. We had something to eat and talked about some computing apps that she had, and relationship was healed. Thank you, Dad. How lovely. Thank you, Heavenly